Lore Cottone knew something was wrong with her firstborn son after he was kicked out of a Mother's Day out group at the age of 2. She just didn't know exactly what was wrong, and it would take years of frustration before she found out.
Graham Cottone was 4 years old when doctors told his parents he had ADHD. But his mom, Lore, knew there was something more.
We disciplined out of anger on several occasions. It was scary, sometimes to think, what are we doing? At 10 years old, he was diagnosed with Asperger Syndrome. But instead of like a terrible news, it was kind of a relief. It was like, finally, I knew there was something else. When he was probably about 12, his behavior, it just was so overwhelming. I just fell down on my bed and I just began sobbing and I cried out to God and I said, God, I'm tired of asking you to help me because I can't do it. You need to do it.
And please welcome to the 700 Club, Lore Cottone. Lore, it's good to meet you.
Thanks you, Wendy.
For being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Quite a story to tell. What were some of the extreme behaviors that your young son, Graham, exhibited in the beginning?
In the beginning, well, they were just different. They were very different, but he was my first,
right.
So I didn't really know all of that. But he was very much a loner. He didn't really play well with the other kids. He acted like he didn't know how to play with the other kids.
Yeah.
So there was a social component that we didn't quite understand what was going on.
So Graham was first diagnosed with ADHD
yes.
at the age of 4. Then at 10 years old, he was diagnosed with Asperger's, and that was kind of a relief to you, right?
Well, it was just because I felt like we had some answers. Like the doctors had always said, oh, it's ADHD, and I thought, yeah, maybe, but there's a social component that we're missing.
And what exactly is Asperger's? Is a form of autism?
It is. I think they're changing kind of what they're calling it these days. I'm not really sure, but it is the highest functioning form of autism.
Okay. And by then, you and your husband had more children.
Yes, we have 4 boys now.
Okay, so you have 4 boys.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with, and they don't have any of these.
No, they don't have any issues.
And so, how did you and your husband handle Graham?
Well, it was as if he was 5 kids,
Right.
So we were always had a lot of attention on him, and we tried our best to. Oh yes, we have these other 3 kids, we need to spend a lot of time with them too. So it was difficult because it felt like we were always being torn with our time.
For you as a mom, what was the most difficult challenge of handling a special needs child?
Well, there were many, Wendy, of course, different challenges and different things that were hard. But I think probably just that I didn't know what the answers were. Like I felt as mom that I should know how to handle this, and Dad and I should come in and be able to rearrange and figure this out and do this the right way. And we did a lot of things the wrong way.
Well, you finally reached that point where you just got down on your knees and said, God, I can't do this. You were desperate and you cried out to God for help. What happened after that?
Well, yeah, you're referring to the time when I just said, you know what, God, I keep asking for your help, but I don't need your help anymore. I need you to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to help you do it. And
that's good.
And after that point, things didn't just turn around and be all hunky-dory. That's actually when he entered his teenage years.
Whoa.
And so you not only have an adverse diagnosis, but then you have all the teenage hormones and, the social things with school and everything. And so it kind of went downhill.
It went way downhill. He actually got in some serious trouble with the law and spent a few nights in jail.
He really got into a lot of anxiety, and he started cutting and started using drugs.
Cutting himself.
And using drugs to try to escape the anxiety.
Right.
And eventually, he did end up in jail, but it wasn't just a couple nights, it was a couple years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how did this become a turning point for Graham?
Yeah, well, I kind of see it as 2 turning points. One's for me as mom.
Sure.
and one for Graham. And my turning point as mom, and that's kind of what my book's about, not about so much the miracle that happened in Graham, was the miracle that happened in me as mom. And that's why I wrote the book, is because I want other moms and dads to know they're not alone and that they didn't do everything wrong. And so the turning point was, for me, is when I realized that I can't do this, and that eventually God led me to the point that I am not needing to look for a certain outcome for him. I'm to just look for Jesus. And when I just look at Jesus and I just ask the Holy Spirit to come in and do what he wants to do in Graham, then I found peace. Regardless of what was happening with Graham, and it was still difficult, but I found peace. And then eventually, though, God did work a miracle in Graham, and Graham said yes. God actually gave Graham a vision of what life would be with him and without him.
Wow.
And
a vision of hell, in fact.
That's what he said, yeah. And I hadn't heard from him in 2 weeks, and he called me and said, I just love everybody. And my first reaction, Wendy, was, oh my gosh, he's in a cult. I don't know. but he wasn't. He had received the Lord, and he did
that
a
happen
miracle.
when he was behind bars?
No, he had gotten out of jail, and he decided he was going to go to California and have his own life. And I said, Graham, you don't know anybody there. No one will be there for you. And he was determined to do that. So I had to let him go.
So today, Graham is 25.
He is 25.
How is he doing?
You know what's interesting, Wendy, is that I remember years ago thinking, if Graham could just get to 25, I don't know, and we laugh, but seriously, I'd be like, I don't know if he's going to live till 25, And today I look and I go, not only is he alive at 25, but he is alive and well. He is living with the Lord. He loves the Lord. He's on no drugs or medications. And he has joy and peace.
And like you discovered in the title of your book, nothing is wasted.
Nothing.
There was a reason.
Nothing we did.
Reason you went through this, and Graham went through this, and you're going to help many, many people. Lori, thank you so much for telling your story. You can also watch our social exclusive interview with Lori on our Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/700club and be sure to pick up a copy of Nothing is Wasted, available wherever books are sold. Lori, God bless you.
Thank you so much.